How's it going, gamers? Welcome to another episode of Gamer Rant, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about EA, false advertising charges of Mass Effect 3's ending. So, basically how this came about is Facebook was like, hey, here's a memory, you shared this video. It happened to be the video where I was talking about that, hey, there's somebody who was going to, actually go to court about this whole false advertising, blah, 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 blah. Now, ironically, for the original, during that time span, I actually never went and kept looking into it to see what ultimately took place. So when I actually tried to find the original article, because I was actually going to re-record the original video, obviously it would be slightly different because obviously I wouldn't remember everything that I said. I came across an article, EA cleared of false advertising charges over Mass Effect 3's ending. So let's talk about this. Okay, so this is a big thing. Apparently, this comes down to the UK's Advertising Standards Authority that ultimately have iterated that Electronic Arts, BioWare did not falsely advertise Mass Effect 3 choices, so on and such forth. All right, now I'm not going to go over the article verbatim. A link to it is in the description box below. But basically, the issue at stake here is, did BioWare falsely advertise? She continues. Technically, yes, they did in the first bullet point where it states, the decisions you make completely shape your experience. There is no indecision in that statement. It is absolute. That comes from an individual for the Better Business Bureau, all right? This ultimately ended up going to the UK's Advertising Standards Authority, where it was ultimately pushed back and was like, no, we've looked at this, and ultimately Electronic Arts did not violate any false advertising, committed any false advertising. What they claimed was within the game itself. Now, me personally, and I think some people, I'm sure I'm not alone, would ultimately disagree on this this ruling. Now, me, honestly, I never really expected it to go anywhere. I thought it was just going to get thrown out of the rug, something like that, that it really wasn't going to go anywhere in general. So I didn't have any high hopes when I first initially heard about that there was an individual who was going to try and sue Electronic Arts and BioWare for false advertising. To me, it seemed as if it was a pretty solid thing. Even the Better Business Bureau had come out and made a statement that it looks pretty legit that they could that they did actually commit false advertising. But for the full scope of the actual article, it's not a very long article, description box below. To pretty much sum it up, they just basically kind of looked at some stuff and ultimately iterated that it wasn't false advertising, which I personally completely disagree with. I do agree that there was some false advertising there, and that the decisions that the player ultimately made, regardless of whatever technical excuses, evidence that the UK's Advertising Standards Authority came up with, I think they missed a bunch of stuff within of itself. They do bring up how there is different endings, but they also don't mention that they're cut copy, alternate, recolored endings, which basically is the cheapest way to do something in the realms of video games instead of doing something original. So, personally, I can't say that I'm sad that it didn't go anywhere, because honestly I'm not, because I didn't expect it to go anywhere. I really can't say that I'm disappointed either, because again, I kind of already figured it wasn't going to go anywhere within of itself. That's pretty much it. I personally still say that yes, I think they did do some false advertising within of itself. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this quick video in some fashion or form. And remember, gamers, if you're still not voicing your thoughts and concerns about the bullshit of Mass Effect 3, the blatant false advertising for that game, so on and such forth, you just might be a part of the motherfucking problem. Alright, so before we actually jump into the ending intro to Gamer Rant, So originally, the first YouTube channel I started on YouTube was an RPG channel. That channel then was later molded to an anime channel. I then molded it back to an RPG channel and then created a separate anime channel, which is now long since dead, deleted, etc., etc., etc. I've actually decided to turn this channel, which has 193 subscribers, I believe, currently, into the Nerd Writer. The reason why I'm calling it the Nerd Writer is because my goal career is to become a full-time writer. Novels, I'd like to get into screenplays, films, which is basically what a screenplay is, etc., etc., etc. I'm going to be reviewing books, movies, video games. I'll be doing discussion videos. I guess you could say more positive videos, although I still consider the videos I do on Gamer Rant to be positive within of itself. There's nothing better than voicing your thoughts and concerns about things that you disagree with within any industry, society, politics, etc., etc., etc. All right. So you can check out that. Link is in the description box below. I hope that you'll see me on Nerd Writer. Excuse me, I'm fucking shit up, man. And of course, don't forget to come back to the next episode of Gamer Rant.